You know, one of the things that made our founding fathers so great at founding stuff was their almost complete lack of idealism. They had ideals. They believed that government should be instituted among men to ensure their rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but they were not idealists. They understood that people in government could not be trusted to actually pursue those goals. They knew that people are power hungry, greedy, vicious, and generally stupid. And so they built a system that would pit various power centers and interest groups against each other in the hopes that they'd all be so busy beating the crap out of one another, they would leave the people alone. Thus, we would be able to preserve that precious liberty that A, ennobles human life, and which B, nobody wants if they can get free stuff instead. For more than 200 years, the founder's spirit of practical, down-to-earth cynicism about human nature has slowed the natural tendency of government and government leaders to devour every right and resource they can get their grubby, stinky little hands on. But at last, that system has made us so rich and so safe, so free and so protected from the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to, that we have managed to raise a generation with no sense of realism whatsoever. They are bright-eyed, attractive, idealistic, utterly ignorant, and support an idiot philosophy that has the potential to destroy every good thing this country has created, including the wealth and power that protects them from the consequences of their own stupid ideas. It will be the political job of a new generation of cynical, nasty, unappealing conservatives to politically crush these lovable morons, and the time to get started is right now. Speaking of novels, I've reached this point in life when I'm rereading the classics. I've gone back and I'm looking at the books that I read when I knew nothing, and I want to reread them and see what they're like now that I know everything that there is to know, as those of you who listen to this podcast understand. And I'm rereading Don Quixote, which is one of the greatest of all novels, if not, certainly among the greatest of all novels. And obviously, you probably know the story. Don Quixote is this guy who reads a lot of chivalric novels, and he finally goes nuts and starts to believe that he's a knight living in a chivalric novel, and whatever he sees, he turns into part of his story. So if he sees a windmill, he thinks it's a giant, and he fights with windmills, etc. And a lot of people know this. A lot of Americans know this from The Man of La Mancha, which is the musical, a very good musical. But The Man of La Mancha is essentially a liberal musical in the following sense. It essentially postulates that by seeing the world incorrectly, Don Quixote ennobles the world, that his vision lifts the world to a higher plane. So when he sees a kitchen slut named Aldonza and he calls her the Lady Dulcinea, this somehow uplifts Aldonza to strive toward being the Lady Dulcinea. But the novel is not like that at all. That's a very American left-wing version of this story. The novel is not like that at all. In the novel, Don Quixote is just a crazy man, and the fact that he sees the world wrongly gets him and everybody around him into terrible trouble. It's not that his values, his chivalric values, are wrong. It's the idea that he's living in the world in the world of chivalry. It's the idea that he sees the world wrongly. It's not that he's wrong to have values. It's that he's wrong to see the world as a place where those values can be put into operation in a useful way. That is the left today. It's not their values. It's not that they want equality. It's not that they want people to have health care. It is the fact that they do not understand how the world works and what people are like. They think that by moving all the power and all the money to government, suddenly everything's going to become fair, and it doesn't occur to them to look around and see, oh, all of history tells me that's not true. Why? Because human nature. Has human nature changed since it began? Never. Not once, not a little, not even this much. It has sometimes been shaped by good philosophies like Christianity and sometimes been marred by bad philosophies like socialism, but it has not changed at all. Just demonstrating that idealism, which is always held up to young people as a good, is in fact the path to viciousness. By the way, this is true for right-wingers too. When we talk about the borders and you got people who won't vote for anything unless they get exactly what they want, that kind of idealism is stupid too. Politics in a democratic society works by compromise, where everybody gets something and everybody loses something. Idealism is what has gotten us to this stalemate, this stagnation. Idealism is not a good thing. It is almost always the result of ignorance about how things work. Ideals, obviously good. We should be moving toward ideals, but we move toward ideals in the world as it is. And in that world, we know that it's the rich people who create wealth. It's the rich people who hire other people and create jobs. And it's the government. When you centralize power in the government, you just create evil, because people, when they get power, just want more power. Never, ever works. It has never worked anywhere. That's why they always talk about Scandinavia. We need socialism like in Scandinavia, because nobody knows what the hell is going on in Scandinavia.